Note taking. In your senior intermediate, you have learned about this topic, note taking. So, what is note taking? Note taking is taking notes from lecturers and seminars, because that helps you to catch up with the main points of the lecture or seminars. These are written in short messages. When there are long sentences, you need not take down the whole sentence, but you can simply take down a short message. What is the use of note taking? Note taking helps you to improve your reading and speaking skills. It also helps you to revise what has been taught with the relevant points, and it is also a very useful skill, because by noting down a small message, you can get the whole information. So, in your syllabus, this note taking is included. It consists of 5 marks. So, in your senior intermediate, you have seen that as soon as there is a paragraph, you must read thoroughly the paragraph and must understand the main points in that paragraph, and you should also supply a title to that paragraph. So that is the main point in writing this topic, note taking. There are certain general tips given for this note making. What are these general tips? See, note making helps to listen carefully and assess the topic. It helps us to listen carefully. So when you are taking notes, you will listen carefully for the main points, and you can later on assess your own selves whether you have understood the topic or not. So, if you take down the notes, you will understand thoroughly the topic which is taught, or the seminar for that matter. And what is the second general tip is, it recognizes main ideas in a topic. So, when you are taking notes, you will recognize the main ideas. So that is what which is very important for note taking. Get the main idea. What is the third point? You must focus on the relevance of information. So your focus must be pinpointed. What is the information which is being given there? What is the main idea? What is the main theme which is running in the lecture? And only focus on the relevant information. So, what is not related to the topic, you can simply neglect it or ignore it. Such as some of the examples and far-fetched images. All these things you can simply ignore. And what is the fifth point? Putting in the information in either as a diagram or a tree diagram. You can also put in the information in a diagram pattern. If the information is something which you can put it in a diagram, you can also do it. That is the fifth point. And what is the sixth point? Recording of source information. So this is also very important in a seminar papers. When the paper is being presented, you will be asked to cite the sources for that matter. So, from which book have you taken? From which article or from which newspaper you have taken that information. So, recording of source information is also very important in note taking. And the seventh point is, while taking the notes, you can use phrases and one-word substitutes. So, this will actually shorten your paragraph. What is the central idea of note taking? Instead of writing a big paragraph, you can condense that big paragraph into a small paragraph using all the main and relevant and important points. That is the central idea of note taking. So for that, what are useful phrases and one-word substitutes are very useful in constructing or dividing the paragraph into smaller units. So these are useful. And last one tip is use abbreviations and symbols. You can also use abbreviations like UNO, United Nations of Organization. Instead of saying that whole thing, you can use abbreviations. Member of the Parliament, you can say simply MP. So these are all abbreviations and symbols. So these are the general tips for following while taking notes. So now let us also see what are the types of note taking. What are the types or methods? So there are 5 methods of note taking. There are 5 methods. The first one is cornell method. The second one is the outlining method. I think I is missing. The outlining method. The second one is. The third one is the mapping method. The fourth one is the charting method. The fifth one is the sentence method. So these are the 5 methods you can use while note taking. Let us now discuss the 5 methods of note taking in a very brief manner. What is the cornell method of note taking? The cornell method of note taking is a format for organizing notes in a systematic way. So, in a cornell method, notes is organized in a systematic way. Like they have given an example. On a given paper, you must leave 2.5 inches of top space in a paper and 1 inch on both sides of the paper and 6 inches in the center, so that any important point which you want to pinpoint, that can be written in the margin, and all the important points are taken down in the center of that 6-inch space. Cornell method is what is organizing information in a systematic way, and for that the model of the paper is also given. In a given paper, 2 inch, so here 2.5 inches of space is left, 1 inch on either side. So you have only 6 inches space here for you to take down notes. The important points are written on the sides, and all the facts, information relevant can be taken down here. So this is corner method of taking notes. So I hope you understand. Here in your textbook, the example is also given. So the corner method of taking notes gives you the main ideas. So all the main ideas are noted down here, and some of the most important points and abbreviations are mentioned here, so that afterwards note taking, after taking down the notes, you can combine the main points and the pinpointed ideas for your note taking or paragraph. The second method mentioned here is, what is the second one? The outlining method. What is the outlining method? It is an indented method. Outlining the method ante ardham entante indented. What is indented cheyadam ante enti? When we are writing a paragraph, we don't start from here, but we leave a certain space and we start the paragraph here. So this empty space is called indent. This empty space is actually indented. ఈ ఖాళీ నేను వదిలేసి ఇక్కడ స్టార్ట్ చేస్తున్నాం కదా, దీన్ని ఏమంటాం మనం? ఇండెంటెడ్ అంటాం. చెప్పండి, ఇండెంటెడ్. So this indentation helps us what? It is useful in our levels of importance. This helps in the levels of importance. So in a paragraph or in note taking, each and every detail is not important. There are levels. So this is very, very important. You can put it as 1, you can put it as 2. Importance number 1 and 2. So levels of importance you can organize, and sequence also. అంటే ఈ పాయింట్ తర్వాత ఈ పాయింట్ రావాలి, అది సీక్వెన్స్ అంటాం. సో అవుట్లైనింగ్ మెథడ్లో ఇండెంటేషన్ ఉంటుంది. దట్ మీన్స్ యూ విల్ లీవ్ అండ్ ఎంప్టీ స్పేస్ అండ్ స్టార్ట్. దానివల్ల ఉపయోగాలు, ఈ అవుట్లైనింగ్ వల్ల ఉపయోగాలు ఏంటి అంటే, లెవెల్స్ ఆఫ్ ఇంపార్టెన్స్ని బట్టి మీరు సెంటెన్స్ని ఫ్రేమ్ చేసుకుంటారు. లెవెల్స్ ఆఫ్ ఇంపార్టెన్స్. అండ్ ద నెక్స్ట్ వన్ ఈజ్ sequence of experiments. What is sequence of experiments? This comes first and this comes next. So there will be a sequence of importance is maintained, and in order to understand the process, మీరు ల్యాబ్లో ఎక్స్పెరిమెంట్ చేసేటప్పుడు ఆ ప్రాసెస్ని సీక్వెన్స్ ప్రకారంగా చేస్తారు కదా. ఫస్ట్ ఏం తీసుకోవాలి, నెక్స్ట్ ఏంటి, థర్డ్ వన్ ఏంటి, ఆ ప్రకారం చేస్తారు. అప్పుడు మీకేముంది, కన్ఫ్యూషన్ ఉంది. సో ఒక నోట్ టేకింగ్లో అవుట్లైనింగ్ చేసినప్పుడు దిస్ ఈజ్ ఫాలోడ్, సో దట్ కన్ఫ్యూషన్ కెన్ బి అవాయిడెడ్. అండ్ దెన్ యూ కెన్ రైట్ ఇన్ పాయింట్స్ ఇన్ అన్ ఆర్గనైజ్డ్ ప్యాటర్న్ and thus maintain levels of importance and indicate major or minor points. So all the important points you can bring into the first, bring in as a first point, and thus you can maintain sequence and maintain major and minor points. And now coming to the third method, and that is the mapping. What is mapping? Mapping is a graphic organization. Mapping method is taking notes in a graphic organization of the content of the lecture. Graph రాస్తామన్నారు. ఒక ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఉంటే దాన్ని మీరు గ్రాఫ్ పద్ధతిలో కూడా దాన్ని ఏం చేయొచ్చు, కన్వే చేయొచ్చు. So when the lecture is being delivered, you can actually draw a graph and then give a visual track in the lecture that encourages critical thinking. So when you are actually giving a graph, you are indicating in which year India's economic development is good and in which year it has come down. So that will give you a critical thinking if you follow a graphic organization. So this is the third one is the mapping method, which is very useful for your memory. You can simply remember all the points. It improves your memory also if you draw a map or a graph. And the fourth one is the charting method. What is charting method? Charting method is chronological, arranging the information in a chronological manner. Chronology అనేది ఎప్పుడు వస్తుంది? Events year wise or month wise or day wise వచ్చినప్పుడు మనం ఎలా మెన్షన్ చేస్తాం? Chronology ప్రకారం. If you are mentioning what has happened in the year 2020, you start with January, is it not? Kada? So, chronology. Independence తర్వాత ఇండియాకి ఏం జరిగింది? There will be 1947 and then all in a chronological manner we will mention the events that happened in India since its independence. So, this information gives the phrases and the main ideas can be recorded under appropriate category. So, దానికి ఒక చార్ట్ చేస్తాం. ఈవెంట్స్ జాన్వరిలో ఏం జరిగింది? వాట్ ఆర్ ద బిగ్గర్ ఈవెంట్స్? సో విత్ డేట్, మంత్, మనం ఎవ్రీ మంత్కి ఒక చార్ట్ చేస్తాం. ఇట్స్ లైక్ రైటింగ్ అ డైరీ. సో దట్ ఈస్ useful for chronological method of taking notes. So that is the fourth one, the charting method. And coming to the fifth method, the fifth method is the sentence method. What is sentence method? Sentence method ante enti? So in this method, every thought, fact and information is written on separate lines with numbering. It is well organized and presents information better than a paragraph. Instead of writing down the paragraph, the last one, sentence method, helps you to write down all the thoughts and then your information in an organized manner. And this helps you to separate each line. You will put a star mark there, write one sentence, that is the fact of the paragraph. And actually you are taking notes from that paragraph. Paragraph నుండి మీరు ఏం చేస్తున్నారు అన్నమాట? నోట్స్ తీసుకుంటున్నారు. కాబట్టి దాంట్లో ఉన్నటువంటి ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఫ్యాక్ట్ని, ఇంపార్టెంట్ థాట్ని, ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ని మీరు ఆర్గనైజ్డ్గా లైన్ వైజ్ ఆర్ సెంటెన్స్ వైజ్ని అరేంజ్ చేసుకుంటూ వెళ్ళడమే ఏంటది? సెంటెన్స్ మెథడ్ అన్నమాట. సో పారాగ్రాఫ్ అంటే సెంటెన్స్ మెథడ్లో అయితే ఇంత పారాగ్రాఫ్, పెద్ద పారాగ్రాఫ్ని కూడా యూ కెన్ మెన్షన్ 5 sentences. Each sentence will give you the fact, the thought and the information. Here certain examples are given and you can take down these notes and do the exercises for this